Hallo wieder Armbanduhr, Freunde. Willkommen zurück.
Thank you, Fraulein Muller, and welcome back, watch friends. I have a growing appreciation for tonneau-style watches, especially when they come from a high-quality brand or have an especially good movement inside, or both. In the last couple of years, I've added a few to my collection. These include the Parmigiani Calpa, the Parmigiani Hebdomadaire, and the Maurice Lacroix Masterpiece with the Jacquet 736 movement-based Le Jeu Perret 736-3 caliber. There are a couple others that may or may not be future additions to my collection. These are the H. Moser & C. Henry Double Hairspring, and my grail, the Lang & Hein George. As is often the case with watch collecting, and other pursuits for that matter, when a particularly good bargain comes along, it's best to act on it, if at all possible, as it may not occur again, or at least may not occur until some future but unpredictable time. This happened with the latest tonneau-style watch I added to my collection, the Glashutte Original Karree Moon Phase Power Reserve, reference 4203010104, and in production from 2000 to 2006. That's a mouthful, so let's deconstruct the name. Karree, a line of now vintage Glashutte Original watches from the first part of the 21st century. Moon Phase. The watch shows the phases of the moon throughout the 29.5-day lunar cycle, and Power Reserve, a reserve de marche complication showing the amount of power of the approximate 40 hours the watch currently has in the mainspring. Glashutte Original should need little introduction to the knowledgeable watch enthusiast. During World War II, Glashutte and nearby Dresden were heavily bombed as they were centers of precision industrial manufacturing. After the war, watch and toolworks companies, including the suppliers of dials, hands, balances, springs, etc., were merged into a large state-controlled company called Glashutte Uhrenbetrieben, literally Glashutte Watch Shops, or GUB, in what had become East Germany. GUB continued producing watches throughout communist times, focusing mainly on simple utilitarian watches. With German unification in 1991, descendants of the original mid-19th century Glashutte watchmakers, such as Walter Lange, recreated some of the companies lost during the communist era. Lange worked with Gunther Blumlein of LMH to reestablish his family brand, launching the new A. Lange & Söhne in 1994 in Dresden. GUB had continued producing watches throughout reunification and relaunched the Glashutte Original name also in 1994. In 2000, Glashutte Original was acquired by the Swatch Group. With less than 1,000 employees, GO manufactures in-house up to 95% of all the components that go into a watch, including the elaborate dials. The dials are made in the manufacturer's dial factory in Pforzheim. In 2006, Swatch Group bought the dial manufacturer, and it's been making dials exclusively for Glashutte Original since early 2012. Let's move to the hands-on of the 1845 Karree Moon Power Reserve Display. Size. Well, it looks big, but it really isn't. So let's get this out of the way. The watch measures 34.5 millimeters wide by 37.5 millimeters tall. Comparing it to my other tonneau style watches, you can see that it's about the same size as the Parmigiani Kalpa on the right, and it's a little bit larger than the Maurice Lacroix, and it's smaller than the Parmigiani Hebdomadaire. On the wrist, it fits me just fine. Thickness is a reasonable 11.2 millimeters. The case is made of polished burnished stainless steel. Another version of this model was offered in 18-karat gold, rose gold. The crown is a domed onion style that is sized appropriately, not too big and not too small. It's very easy to grip and has only two positions: wind and, when pulled out, set. Commensurate with its status as a dress watch, the water resistance is 30 meters, so it's best to consider the Karree splash or rainproof. I plan to keep mine away from water as much as possible. A slightly curved anti-glare sapphire crystal is at top, and an exhibition case back with a flat sapphire allows the beautiful movement to be admired. Finally, a stainless steel double-folded deployant buckle with signed clasp on a Louisiana crocodile leather strap complete the picture. The star of the show, so to speak, is the dial, made of pure silver with Arabic numerals printed in black. It's both gorgeous and easy to read. It's a two-tone dial, lightly frosted on the inner section and darker texture on the outer one. Interestingly, depending upon the light, the outer section appears either darker in contrast to the inner portion or lighter in color with less contrast to the inner. Blued steel hands complement the aesthetic, and like most true heat-treated hands, they look either black in subdued light or shine in just the right lighting. Two complications attracted me to this piece. First, the Moon Phase, display at 10:30. It shows the current status of the 29.5-day lunar cycle. Don't worry if it's not correctly set. There's a pusher on the side of the case that allows it to be advanced one day at a time, independently of the crown. I like the Moon Phase in the upper left-hand corner because it's out of the way and not overpowering, but still very legible. The other complication that appealed to me on the Karree is the reserve de marche indicator at the upper right corner of the dial between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. This display shows the power remaining and has an attractive blued hand. Full power, as displayed on the power reserve indicator, takes 47 winds. This complication has radiating lines stemming from the hand pivot and is labeled off and ab at each extreme, which translates literally to up and down in German. I assume referring to wound up or wound down. Lastly, the small seconds dial at 6 o'clock balances out the overall appearance of the dial. The subdial has very fine circular graining, not immediately noticeable, and railroad track markings around its perimeter. Of course, the hand on the small second subdial is blued like the other hands. The manual winding in-house caliber 42 movement is very well executed. Looking at it, you see Glashutte waves, probably would be called Geneva waves if this was a Swiss watch, blued screws, beveled edges, and a swan neck regulator, which is something that GO and other high-end German watches contain. Also, the frosted main plate has gold chatons and gold writing in German, stating 35 joules and regulated in 5 positions. Further, the movement has a 40-hour power reserve and can be hacked. One of the things I like about the caliber 42, other than the obvious quality of the movement, is that it's a specific movement design for this watch. Often, a round movement is used in a square or tonneau style case, and to me that just looks wrong. Here, the rectangular shaped movement fills the rectangular case and looks proper, at least to me. To sum up, this is a great watch and a permanent addition to my collection. It's a classic shape, if not unpopular or perhaps little known. The overall gestalt is reminiscent of Art Deco and a pleasure to look at. As my only moon phase watch, it's fun to wear. The Karree is an elegant, stylish, and extremely high-quality German watch, as are most Glashutte Original models. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to be alerted of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.